if you're authentic with who you are, goods and bads, you will know how to create what that is. And for me, violence and fighting and conflict was something that always felt normal to me. And I don't mean normal in like I grew up in a war zone or a abusive household or something like that. I just meant that I was a kid who was very joyful and inquisitive, and spent a lot of time around older people, of all things. And also, while I don't think I have much capability towards engineering, my mom said that one of the first things as like a little baby, when she put me in my sister's old crib, instead of my sister who just milled about and was fine with it all, the first thing I did was I completely deconstructed it. I didn't break it. I figured out how to pull it apart.
Curiosity about the world, and yet that wasn't in conflict with the idea of violence?
No, not at all. And so being a very joyful and nice kid, but kids are kids, and if kids can find that you respond maybe more easily to agitation, they will agitate you. And if you should stand out in some way by being taller or bigger or something, or caring, especially, they will agitate you. They don't really fully understand it either. And so I don't hold anything against like any of the kids that used to pick on me or whatever, especially at the youngest ages. Like, man, they don't know shit either. So, but once that line was pushed, for me, it was, oh, well, I was being cool. Now you're being uncool.
Yeah.
Well, then that gives me license for everything. Yeah. And so, boom, we would just go at it. Or kids that would try to initiate a fight. And I'm like, okay. And being in that moment of just going to town with someone else, it just felt like this.
I belong here.
Yeah, it was never a problem for me. Like in fact, if anything, what I had to understand was, well, not only did I learn the hard way that it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what anybody else does. If your response in violence, even to their violence, if you're the winner, is often going to be penalized severely. Society, state apparatus, they don't want any of that. They want to be the only arbiter of violence in the world, always. But I learned a very difficult lesson with that, and it was really impactful in a negative way on me. But also I had to learn on an individual sense you need to manage violence too, because hey, if someone attacks you or starts a fight with you and you go at it, okay, beating them up is one thing. Trying to grab a handful of broken glass from the street and throw it in their face, maybe that's a bit much at 7. So you need to learn what level is necessary, and you need to learn what comes with what's the responsibility of when you enact violence. I mean, you take on something when you have a responsibility for that. This is the extension of your actions. But as I got older, and especially as I found sports and then combat sports, now this was a place for me to flourish. And to the point where I was more myself in that space than I was outside of it, until time enough where I could learn to get this back together again. And I never say that I'll merge the two or anything like that. No, all what happened, my journey from adolescence on to manhood, a huge portion of it, besides the normal finding yourself, whatever, right. Actually, what it was getting back to who I always was. Getting
that
back
curious kid, the kind kid.
Getting back to the guy that I should have been allowed to become, instead of what happened under the pressures of other things. Yeah. And the attempt for society and certain people within managerial positions to compress what that was into something that they found more suitable.